Hi, I'm Tanzeel, and I'm Tanzeel Khan. I'm from Indian administered Kashmir, and I represent Digital Rights Kashmir, and I'm a researcher in the field of technology and in a digital rights activist. I got to know, Breadinet a few months ago, uh, yeah, maybe through Access Now. Then I thought that maybe I should, submit a proposal because I think this is, a nice platform to have people, to connect with people who face the same issues as we do in Kashmir. I submitted the proposal and it got accepted. So this session is uh, I won't be teaching you anything. So it would be great if people could respond and people could ask questions and if they have anything with respect to the digital rights in Kashmir or in Palestine. So I'm not very much informed about the digital rights in Palestine, but the aim behind organizing this session was to understand the common things that both of the regions face, and how we can collaborate and work on the things and that both of us face. I think these the both the Kashmir as well as the Palestine and other countries wherever there is an authoritarian government or authoritarian wherever there is an oppression. So the government always tries to muzzle your voice, and be that online or offline. So and as we know, both Kashmir and Palestine are British, colonial treaties and arrangements, as well as its cartographic and demographic maneuvers. There are differences in the inception of the respective colonial occupations in the post-World War II of two era of a wave of anti-colonial movements in the context of decolonization. So since 1947, we see that there is a and it shows both Kashmir and Palestine. It shows us a pattern of resistance, be that street protests, be that strikes and other, and now that resistance has moved online. So I believe that every government or every authority tries its best to silence people online, because you have more reach. You have millions of people, millions and billions of people online who can listen to your voice, who can know whatever is happening in your region. So I think it's an an important and an impactful medium for the occupied people, and has somehow given us a hope that maybe something maybe we'll be able to end the occupation, and maybe we'll make a world aware of the atrocities committed in the occupied areas. So in Kashmir as well as in Palestine, there are thousands of cases where the social media organizations, be it Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, they have either limited the reach of the activists, or they have suspended the accounts, they have locked some features. So these things are happening. And I guess in 2019, one research was done, and it was seen that in 3 years, almost 1 million tweets regarding Kashmir were deleted by Twitter, because the Indian government had requested Twitter to do it. So they did it. And there are hundreds of cases that I know of, and I have experienced at some cases that my account was disabled, my account was locked. Some of my friends, one of my friend runs an media organization. His Facebook page was deleted without any warning. There was no trace, and he could not challenge that decision. So and it's not just the the social media organizations, but also the governments that occupy us. They continue to collaborate and do everything at every level to make things easier for them. make it easy for them to control us. So I think it's high time for people, to come together, and share resources and work towards the common goal. Because I believe there are so many similarities, and if we work together, and if not just Kashmir or Palestine, but every a region or a community that is facing oppression, they can learn from each other. So that is the motive of this session. That if I'm not sure if the attendees are allowed to speak, but if they are, it would be great if they can share their experiences and the tools and techniques they use online, related to the digital rights, to remain private, or to safeguard your data. Sorry. Okay. So I'll try to give you a brief introduction of Kashmir, and maybe some of you may not know. So it's a conflict zone between India and Pakistan, and a small region of it is held by China. And since 1947, India and Pakistan has fought 2 wars over Kashmir. So and some groups in Kashmir demand that the resolutions at the United Nations be implemented, and that call for a plebiscite to resolve the Kashmir issue. So with regards to the digital rights, Kashmir is a place where in the world most of the shutdowns have occurred so far. I guess for around 351 times the internet has been shut in Kashmir, and the first shutdown that happened was in 2012, and since then it has happened around 350 times. So in the last month alone, the internet was shut at least 8 times for at least 8 days. And right now there are certain places in Kashmir where the internet is shut. So I have also observed experienced the internet shutdown in Kashmir. One was in the longest shutdown, that was in 2016. And another shutdown was in August. Another shutdown happened on August 5, 2019, that ended after around 6 months. So and it's not just the internet, but other communication services, including the SMS and Vice and other, even the postal services were banned in Kashmir for several months, and even the people were not allowed to come out of their homes. There were armed forces on the road, and you were not allowed to go anywhere, and you were not allowed to communicate. So the people who were not in Kashmir, they were unable to communicate with their family and friends in Kashmir for at least 3 months. So and thousands of during August 5, 2019, when India revoked the Article 370 of their constitution, and that was the guarantee that Kashmir has a little autonomy, and it is a little autonomous from India, and that was gone. And then during that time the internet was shut. Thousands of people were arrested, including the separatists, the political leaders, the businessmen, and student activists. So in a way, I can say that it was turned into an Orwellian state overnight, without people did not know that this is going to happen. So it impacted everyone, be it students, be it professionals, be it journalists. So everyone was impacted because of this. And as per the report by the Kashmir Chamber of Commerce and Industries, around 4 lakh people lost their jobs, and there was a loss of around $5.3 billion since August 2019. So and also during that time, a loss of accounts on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Twitter, mostly on Facebook, they were deleted without any warning, without any chance to challenge. So and there were people who were not even aware that their accounts have been deleted, because there was no internet. So this happened during this time, and then the government claimed that all this is being done to stop the spread of rumors and stop people from stop the violence. But the human rights activists and the local population and the research that has been done in Kashmir from past few years say that the primary reason to censor online content related to Kashmir and shut the internet down is to suppress the voice of people, keep them disconnected and unable to assemble to protest, and also keep the outside world unaware of the human rights violations in Kashmir. So I think there is the similar things happen when these things happen in Palestine or any other occupied area. The government claims the same thing, that this is to uh, prevent violence, and this is to keep the peace intact. So also in Myanmar, what happened recently in last year, and the government there, they claim the same thing, that it is to keep the peace intact and just to prevent the violence. So when you have no communication, I think, or when you have no proper source of getting the information, no valid source of getting the information, it gives rise to more fake news, and there are so many organizations, some of them government sponsored, who spread fake news and who spread information that is very biased, and that gives rise to more divide and more rumors. So, and also I think that one of the aim of the government to censor the genuine Kashmiri voices online is to give rise to those voices who are government sponsored, and who speak biased language, and who spread rumors and fake news. So I think that's the introduction of what has been happening in Kashmir, based a basic idea. So at Digital Rights Kashmir, we work with the organizations who document the human rights violations, also the digital rights violations, and including the online censorship, the Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter content takedown cases. And we document internet shutdowns as well. So yeah, so that's, if anyone has any question or any anything to share, please do. And I'm sorry, I do not, I can read Arabic, but I do not speak Arabic, so I'm sorry about that. I have been reading about the publications of Hamle. I'm not sure if that's how it is pronounced. So and I find a lot of similarities between what is happening in Kashmir or what is happening in Palestine, and one thing that I've observed is that at most what we are able to do is to write about it, make a report that this has been happening, these number of accounts has been shut, and these number of people are not allowed to speak online, their posts are being removed. So but I don't see any the on ground impact, because maybe because the government has more power than us, and maybe we don't have enough resources to uh, to hold the social media organizations accountable. But I think the idea that this session is about is that working collaboratively. Maybe we if we work together, maybe there is something that we can formulate and maybe device that these things can be done, these resources we can share, and on those ideas we can work to have more impact on, because we it's not happening, it has not happened a year ago or a month ago. It has been happening all the time. You every time you speak against the occupiers, they your account or whatever you platform you use, they shut you down, they silence you. Okay, so someone has a question that are activists connected through the three parts of Kashmir? I'm not sure what this question is about, but if you're talking about the division of Kashmir, the Kashmir is divided into three parts. Half of it is, some part of it is with India, some part of it is with Pakistan, and some part of it is with China. So I am from the Indian part of Kashmir, and there is no communication between the three parts. It's a warlike situation, and it's not allowed talk to each other, or it's not allowed, but it's not safe. Yeah, there is no common activist network, and the human rights violations or the digital rights violations that happen, it happened in the Indian part of Kashmir, not in the Chinese or in the Pakistan part of Kashmir. In Chinese part of Kashmir, there is very less population. It's a cold desert, people call it, so there is no population there. But in Pakistan administered Kashmir, there are some people, but the human rights or the digital rights violations don't happen there. I'm sorry, there was one another speaker who who was expected to join, and he could not join because of some issue. So I'm sorry about that. We were supposed to do an activity. That person was, supposed to do that, but I'm not sure if that could be done now. So it was about, the activity was about the tools that you use, for communication during, the tools that are more, the tools that are more privacy conscious, like Signal and other apps. So it was, the activity was regarding that. I'm not sure how that activity was able to, how that activity was going to go. That's yeah. So if we talk about the tools, we use in Kashmir, and I have seen so many people using those tools. One of the tools that you all might be knowing is Signal, that we all use for communication. And as I said, that in Kashmir there is Kashmir is a place where most of the internet shutdowns in the world occur. So there are some apps that people use during internet shutdowns. One of them is Briar. So Briar is So Briar is an app that works on Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. So it creates a kind of a mesh network, and so you can communicate with people who are around you. And then if that person, if you're connected with the second person, and the second person is connected with the third person, you can connect through the second person to the third person, and you can communicate. And like that, you can make a large group, and all of you can communicate, and you can even share files. So it's not much famous, but yeah, it's very useful. So another app that we use, like what I have observed is that in Kashmir, I'm not sure about Palestine, but in Kashmir, you have armed forces, the Indian armed forces. They can check your phone they can check the gallery, they can check every other app. So even if you have a camera, they can access the memory of it and check the photos and videos. So the apps that we use for that is there are different apps that we use, and one of the app that's Camera Pro. I'm not sure. I don't remember the name exactly. So that app we use for recording the videos, because that app keeps more metadata than the other apps than the default apps that we have in our phones. So that we use, and also we make use of the we try to keep the data less online and more offline. So we use flash drives and the hard drives to keep the data so that it doesn't get lost. Because one of the cases I remember is in 2019, after the Article 370 was removed, there were so many YouTube channels, and there were so many Facebook pages where you had so much information about Kashmir, and there were so many videos. It was kind of a digital evidence, of the human rights violations happening in Kashmir. But in a week or two, it all went away. It was all deleted. Nobody knows why and how. So and we lost a lot of content, and maybe some of the content was not offline, it was just on YouTube. So I think that made me I learn that we shouldn't always trust online storage platforms. And another case I remember is it happened just maybe 3-4 weeks back, that the media organizations in Kashmir, they had archives of maybe 10, 12, and 15 years back. They had digitized those reports, news reports and articles, and it was available on their website. So we like if you had to read some article or go to some report which is 2, 3, 5 years old, you go to that website and access that. So that's how it is in on every other news platform. But the government ordered them that it was ordered very secretly. And there is no order, there is no official order. So most of those news organizations, they deleted the past news reports, they deleted the articles, they deleted the videos and other media. So now if you try to access the archives of maybe 2, 3 years back, it is not there. So there also we lost a lot of content, a lot of written history. So there again, I think it is important to archive the data online that you see, save that data offline. So there is one tool I use for that, is it's a Windows app called httrack. So in httrack, what it does is it downloads all the HTML content from the website. So you just have to download the software. It's free and open source, and give the URL, and it will start downloading the website. All the pages, including the media, including the images, will be downloaded. So that is also one of the way to preserve the evidence, or the information that is available online. If there is any question or any if anyone wants to talk, so there is still some time, because the other speaker is not there. Again, I'm sorry, I cannot speak in Arabic. I can understand Arabic a bit, but I cannot speak, so I'm sorry. I believe there are no questions. Okay. Yeah. So another, there are a set of tools, that we use, not just in Kashmir but around the world. They are used. So there is an organization called Witness. Witness is dedicated on mainly on safeguarding the privacy and the security of the human rights defenders. So they have listed a set of tools that you can use if there is an internet shutdown, or not just internet shutdown, but if you would want more privacy while you are recording a human rights violation, and if you want more evidence to be recorded, and you want that evidence to be used as an evidence when there is when that occupier or whoever is doing their oppression is held accountable. So there are a few tools that I think I should talk about. So I just please give me a minute. I've listed all those tools. I'll just open it and I'll talk about it. Okay. So there is one app, one of the apps that you can use for checking if there is any website that has been censored by the authorities, of if there are is there if the internet is working, or if the bandwidth has been brought down, the internet bandwidth. So there is an app called Uniprobe. I'm sure most of you might be aware of that app. So it's an open source app that runs tests from your phone to measure whether sites or platforms are being blocked. It can show you how, when, where, and by whom sites are being blocked. So it's a very useful app. Whenever you feel that maybe sometimes social media websites are blocked, or maybe some other website is blocked, you can run the test, or you can manually enter that website that you think is not accessible from the region you are in, and then you can run the test, and it'll give you the results that who has blocked it, and if it really has been blocked or not. So also there is another app called F-Droid that you can use when there is no internet, or maybe you can use that app if you don't want to communicate over the internet. So F-Droid and Dryer are the most useful apps that I think are there if you want to communicate offline, because not even the communication through SMS is safe or private. Yeah, I think it's more easy for the governments to record your SMS communication than it is to record your online communication. So I think using if that person is around you, using F-Droid or Briar is a good idea. Okay, so there is another app called Proof Mode. Proof Mode is mostly used for recording. It keeps the more metadata, as I told, that it keeps more information about the media, so that you can even know where was that video shot, or and at what time, and other details that can identify and that can prove that the video is real and it was shot at that particular location. So okay, so now coming to documentation, how you can document the human rights violations, or whenever you see them, what apps you can use. So I think one of the okay, so one of the most useful apps that are there to keep to document is the Tela is it's also again capturing app, media capturing app, but it keeps it collects certain metadata, that is even the last location where the device had connection, instead of the actual position of the hardware. So it is one of the useful apps that you can use. Maybe I can share the URL of the the blog where you can find all this information. That I think that would be much easier. Yeah. So okay. So yeah, Bridgify is also one of the apps. It's an end-to-end encrypted app for sending messages via Bluetooth. So and unlike Briar, through Bridgify the messages can travel longer distances by hopping along a mesh network of other Bridgify users. So but in Briar there is a function called private groups, where you can have more than two people talking to each other. So Bridgify doesn't have that feature, but one good thing is that it has more reach. It can you can share messages through mesh network to a long distance. So now another thing that if you want to communicate without the internet, in case you feel the internet communicating via internet is not safe. So SMS text messages, they are sent all over cell networks and they do not rely on the internet. So if in case there is an internet shutdown, this app can still work, but it is very, as I said, it is very insecure. It's not end-to-end encrypted, and it's very easy for the government to watch whatever you are sharing or whatever you are communicating. So there is an app called Silence. So Silence is an app that is used for SMS. So it encrypts the SMS end to end. So it's an open source app, and it uses the protocol same as Signal app. So the encryption protocol, it uses the same that the Signal app uses. So and both the sender and the recipient need to have it installed, of course. And once you install the app, you exchange the encryption keys with each other, so that one person can decrypt and see, and you can encrypt and send. And if that person is sending you the message, you can decrypt and read. So it does go through the telecom service, and but it will be encrypted, and the telecom operators or the government, if they are checking whatever you are sharing, they won't be able to decrypt the messages and see whatever you are sharing. So if it comes to VPNs, you want to keep your location private. The one thing, one of the two most two most used VPNs that we use are Proton VPN, and there is Tunnel Bear. So Tunnel Bear has, if you are a digital rights activist, Tunnel Bear is a paid platform, but you can maybe if you need access to it without paying, so you can request them that you are working on some project that is concerned with the digital rights, and they may be able to give you free access for the VPN. So I think you all are aware what VPN is. It's your internet traffic is encrypted and routed through a VPN server to another location, such as in another country, thus concealing the true destination and the content of your traffic to your ISP. So and that is the reason some countries ban VPN. In Kashmir, it was banned in 2019 and in 2020, and there were people around 4 to 5 people were arrested because they were using VPN. The Indian forces, they checked their phones and they found out that they have VPN installed, and they filed an FIR against those people, and they were arrested. So it may not be always safe to have it installed in your phone and go out, but whenever you feel like you need to have a VPN installed to communicate or to work on some project that you're working on, so I think it's a good idea to have Proton VPN and Tunnel Bear. So yeah, I think that's it. If anyone has any questions or any comments to make. Oh, sorry, I had turned the camera off. I'm so sorry. Okay. If anyone has any question or any comment or anything to say, please do. So there is another useful tool that you can, you maybe if you're interested, you can go through. So it's called internetshutdown.in. Let me share the URL. Okay, so I'm sharing the URL in the chat. Okay. So this tool is it is developed by the Software Freedom Law Center. This is an organization, digital rights organization. So there you can see the map of India. Kashmir is also there, and it is not the correct map of Kashmir because, as I said, a part of it is occupied by Pakistan, and some part of it is occupied by China, and some part of it is with India. So, but as I don't want to go into the political idea behind it. Why is it like this? But the India, they consider the whole part of Kashmir as their own. Pakistan considers whole part of Kashmir as their own. So that is the reason this map is like that. So if you can see on that tool, Jammu and Kashmir has, as per this tool, 317 times the internet has been shut in Kashmir. So it's a very useful tool, and for people who would like to know more about how shutdowns are done and how many shutdowns have been done and why. So there are, if you click on Jammu and Kashmir, it will show you the whole details of how when and why the internet was shut. Okay, so I have not been targeted in a way that like I have not been targeted, but I always try to stay very not in the limelight, and not many people in the government or in the government authorities know me. So that's I think that's how we can work. So it's not safe to come online and share whatever you are facing or whatever you are experiencing. But I think someone has to do it, and someone has to talk about it. So maybe that person is me. I also have to do something. I also have to make efforts to share whatever I'm experiencing and whatever the people here are facing. So yeah, but there are people who are very vocal about it, who have publicly talked about such things. They have been targeted, and I think 2 days ago, one of the most prominent human rights activists in Kashmir, is his name, Khurram Parvez. He was arrested by the Indian authorities and he was taken to New Delhi, to India. And there are thousands of such people who are still in jails, in India and in Kashmir. So yeah, it's not much safe to talk about these things. But yeah, I think if we keep, the silence, it will go on. So someone has to, come forward and talk. So if there is no question or comment, maybe we can, end the session. Okay. Okay. So thank you everyone for staying for so long and listening to me. I was not very well prepared for speaking for so long, because I was expecting someone else to take over and then do the activity. So yeah, thank you for being here, and it would be very I'll write down the email if there's anything that you would want to know, if there's anything you'd want to collaborate on, so you can reach out. Okay. Thank you everyone.